This close to shore, I thought we were farther off when you came out. But one thing, the weather was very good then, just like it is now. If it hadn't been for this place, I wouldn't be alive. So then I decided I would come back, and it's a very important link in my life. It was never out of my mind.
I could say the worst part about the Russian convoys was the conditions of the sea, which at times, most times really, was pretty awful. Consequently, in ships, even Nigeria, with a new cruiser, inside when we first went to sea, the condensation inside the ship, when you got up in the reef climate, was very bad, and you were knee-deep in water, even on a cruiser. And of course on the destroyers and small ships, it was vastly different, much worse, very much worse.
I think the most unpleasant job on the ships was the firemen and stokers in the coal-burning freighter. They were well below the waterline, and obviously they would have very great difficulty in getting out if the ship was torpedoed. You know, they'd either get scalded by steam and then with the impact of the explosion, the iron ladders would fall in on them, and it's very difficult to get out.
Ja, livvästen, det var ju den enda tryggheten man hade. Den hade man ju på sig alltid, och man satt och åt med livvästen på sig. Jag kommer ihåg ett minne att jag hade inte vaskat mig på 3 veckor, utan det var ju nästan som man lukta, och hygienen den blev ju mindre och mindre, för man gick och väntade på att nu nästa gång så är det vår tur. Och så hade vi det hängandes över oss att Turkisk var på väg ut. Det var ju det. Jag har respekt för flyg och respekt för ubåtar, men stora respekten, det var ju just den här båten, för hade han kommit ut så hade han gjort det. Det var väl en falsk alarm, han kom aldrig.
Auf Befehl des Führers und obersten Befehlshabers der Wehrmacht taufe ich dich auf den Namen Tirpitz.
Tirpitz, som man visste var slept gjennom Kielakanalen, den forsvant plutselig i en stormnatt i januar, og ingen visste hvor den var.
Da ble alle guttene og alle vennene, Leifen og Rolfen og så videre, vi mente at nå måtte det gjøres noe. Derfor begynte vi å bygge en sender. Den skulle da kunne settes opp, og vi kunne begynne å prøvesende til England. Så var jo, som dere kanskje kan forstå, når vi var gutter i den umulige alderen hvor vi skulle finne på noe som var spennende, så gikk vi her nede på disse gamle eiendommene her på Enhjørningsgården og klatret. Og når da krigen kom, så kjente vi jo i alle fall fra husken fra guttedagene absolutt alle forholdene her nede. Og da plukket vi ut dette rommet som da ble kalt det hemmelige rommet på bryggen, eller oss imellom kaféen som dekknavn. Og så begynte vi.
Altså, hovedoppgaven for Teta-gruppen var å holde home station, det vil si britiske og norske myndigheter i England, orientert om de viktigste bevegelser langs kysten, særlig på det sjømilitære området. Og vi hadde jo da fått utlevert silhuetter som gjorde det mulig for oss å identifisere de enkelte krigsskip.
Die Ufer der Fjorde werden eingenebelt.
Vår kunnskap om at Tirpitz lå for anker ved fjellveggen oppe i Åsenfjorden, den kom via losen på sørgående hurtigrute.
Og vi mente da å kunne sende i klart språk at vi hadde oppdaget dette.
Og da et britiske admiralty så fikk dette telegrammet, den som er datert 24. januar 1942, med full melding om hvor båten lå, så var dette et av de telegrammene som var ansett som å være så viktig at ikke den norske regjeringen måtte informeres om det.
Ja, det er ikke mer i dag, fredsdag i dag, Deres Majestet.
Og så blir det jo flyttet da, først fra Trondheimsfjorden opp til Narvik, og derfra til Alta. Og den lå jo i realiteten i Altafjorden i storparten av den tid hvor den var aktiv.
It was 1942 and I was out of work. I had left my last ship and I went down to the Union Hall, which was our shipping hall, and joined the Carleton. I didn't want to sail on deck. I didn't like being a quartermaster, and I liked steam engines when I was a boy. And when I shipped out, my uncle was the chief engineer, and he took me with him a couple summers, and so I liked it. It's a little city on its own, just a little city down there, lights and the engine, and that's all. And three boilers on those ships, and generated steam and run the engine. It was just a way of life.
Jag var ju inte mer än 21, jag var 21 år och mönstrad och bodde i den här båten som hette Ironclad. Kom över i norska handelsflottan 1939 och var där hela kriget så gott som. Och på den tiden så var ju alla skandinaver, de var alltid välkomna på amerikanska båtar. Så jag mönstrade där i London och så gick vi över till Halifax och lastade krigsmaterial på 2 olika platser.
Det var jo bare krigsmateriel. Jeg vil huske som en 20-30 tanks. De var nok så tunge, jeg tror de var 36 tonn de veide. Så de tog 10. Jeg lurer på om vi hadde noen og 30 av disse tanksene. 4 av de hadde vi i alle fall på dekk, så lå de på mellomdekk.
It was at the time of the Battle of Stalingrad, which was a critical phase of the war on the Russian front, and they wanted to get our tanks and ammunition and stuff off to the front as quickly as possible.
I think the British convoys and American convoys as well, of course, and the Norwegian convoys were a significant part, of course, in the war itself. But in 1942 we were pressed. We were fighting for survival. And we did not know if we succeeded in it.
Det var många som hade tanken på att nu håller kriget på att ta slut, alltså att tyskarna hade tagit överhand över hela allt. De bombade i London och de bombade överallt och fartygen blev sänkade. Och det var svårt att få en uppfattning att liksom man såg ingen vändning, ingen ljus i den. Vad är det för nytta med att transportera krigsmaterial på detta viset när det inte finns något mål?
My first trip was in PQ-17. I was an apprentice officer and I joined the Ocean Freedom, which was loading for a convoy to Russia. That would be in June 1942.
And they completely overhauled all the life-saving equipment, the boats and everything, and installed rafts. The ship didn't have rafts prior to that. They installed the rafts as an additional means of escape, and plus the fact we would have gunners on board, which hadn't been there before. So we were first going to Halifax, and we went to Halifax, and I think that is where we got the orders. I'm not too sure. Again, that's up to the captain and the mate.
Jag tror vi var cirka 25 båtar som lämnade Halifax då och gick över till Walford på Island.
And we were going to Murmansk, and I didn't know it. You could have told me, Cape Town, Australia. I didn't care. All I wanted to do is work. It was my job. I wanted to get work and get paid. Where it was going meant nothing to me.
Murmansk actually during the summer period was not used as much as Archangel anyway, because it was too close to the enemy bases. But Murmansk was used more in the winter time, because it was ice-free all the year round.
Vi låg i Valfjord då i cirka 2 veckor och väntade på konvojen som skulle gå upp till Murmansk. Vi var ju bara inne där för att bunkra och samla konvojen.
You could see the city from where we were anchored. And I went up the street and I went my way. A couple of us went up the street and we looked at a couple of bars and we found the same kind of beer everywhere we went. No good. So I don't even, I'm really sure, maybe 1 or 2 times.
Vi lämnade Watford den 27 juni. Det var 37 båtar. 2 båtar gick tillbaka som blev skadade. Vi var ute mer än 35. Men jag tror inte det var mer än en tredjedel av konvojen som kom fram till Ryssland.
Vi hade inte hört det var så gott. Att det var sänkt någon båda då, det visste vi om. Men det gjorde ju Jalantaren också. Så det var så gott, det var det ju ingen av som trodde.
Skepparen han var amerikanare och vi hade en australienare och sen var det mest blandade folk. Vi var liksom lite stora människor.
Det var jo ikke sjøfolk. Og lite kunne vi sette dit i arbeid også. Vi prøvde å være strevende for de i sving. Og på slutten så fant de ut at båten ble senket likevel. Det var ikke noe rolle når de gikk. Så de nekte de ville ellers sitte og spille kort eller jobbe. Det var jo bare nekte skipsarbeid. Noen var tatt ut av fengslet. Noen hadde gjort noe annet galt, altså. Så slepte de fri hvis de ville gå ombord. De var jo veldig skeptiske. Men det var så galt når vi gikk på roer, på vakt på roer, så gikk du bevæpnet. Det gikk vi hele turen.
For a merchant ship, we were quite heavily armed. Because obviously we weren't designed as fighting ships. But we had 4 Oerlikons, an old World War I 4.7 on the poop, and the 12-pounder on the forecastle.
Vi hade ju en sån där luftvärnskanon akterut på en plattform. Och vi hade ju 3 amerikanska marinersoldater ombord. Och så fort det var frågan om att skjuta, vet du, så de hade ingen humor om någonting. Vet du.
Nej, det hade de.
Ja,
du kan känna, vi hade ju inte avståndsmålare. De hade ju inte idé om avstånd på sjön.
Nej.
Men du kan ju undskylda också dessa amerikaner, för de ante inte vad det gick till.
Nej, de hade ingen humor om någonting.
Nej, de ante inte vad det gick till. Ja.
Well, you know, the rumors around the ship that we had nothing to worry about, that we had plenty of defense, that there was numerous small ships for submarines and 2 ships in particular for aircraft that were especially designed for that. They had a multitude of guns. So, you know, we thought we'd be adequate.
Jag får nog säga min egen bedömning, det så var väl inte eskorten för de konvojerna på den tiden så stor. Vi hade väl liten näreskort, men kanske större eskort som inte vi såg.
We had the Washington in North Carolina, and we had 4 or 6 destroyers. The only 2 I remember was the Wichita and the Tuscaloosa. And I don't know any of the British ships, but they were out of sight over the horizon to protect us from advancing surface craft.
We were a covering force. We were north of the convoy. And so we were never actually in the convoy itself. We were just a covering force for the convoy. We never made contact with the convoy.
Så vidt jeg husker hade vi 28 eskortskib. Det var ju ett par också som var rescue-skib. De skulle pille upp överlevande. Och vi hade besked att hålla kurs och fart oavsett om det låg folk i vattnet.
You're never allowed to stop. You just had to steam on because the rescue ships had the responsibility of going searching for survivors.
Not long after we left Iceland, within a day or two, we were found by a German reconnaissance plane, which was easy because it was just like this, brilliant sunshine. And he circled us and kept us in sight, and then he sent for reinforcements.
That was a thing that all sailors on Russian convoy feared, that train, because once they picked you up, they never left you. And they'd always be out of reach. And you couldn't fire on them, but they would call up the U-boats, always call up the U-boats.
I was down in the engine room the first time. I should think this might have been about the 2nd or 3rd of July, and I thought we'd hit a whale, because down below, below the waterline, the sound comes is quite the volume is increased, and the fourth engineer, who wasn't really very much older than me, we thought we'd hit this whale. But of course it was a depth charge.
Depth charge, yes.
So we knew then that there were U-boats in the vicinity.
There were.
Charge is ready, sir. Close up, sir.
I didn't know how close we were going to Norway. I didn't know the war situation over here, that Norway was occupied by Germans, that there was Germans within a couple hundred miles of our route. So that was totally out of my thinking. It was not my job to think about that. It was my job to oil the engine, what my job was. I think the first planes that came were the torpedo bombers.
And they came in over our quarter, and they went up through the convoy.
They used to fly very low.
Very, very low. And so it made it extremely difficult to attack them, because they went between the columns of the convoys, so that if you fired at them, you hit the ships.
Du ser et torpedofly, de kan jo ikke slippe torpedoer fra høyde, de må jo helt ned med vannet. Så de kan jo veldig lavt.
And we were on the outside lane, and this torpedo bomber launched 2 torpedoes at us. And we turned away from them to avoid them, and one went across our bow and hit the Christopher Newport.
Ja, vi hadde en torpedo i 2 luker som ikke eksploderte seg. Og det hadde vært 1600 tonn med ferdig ammunisjon. Fra 4 toms til de brukte disse Tommy Guns, amerikanerne. Så hadde den eksplodert, så hadde det nok blitt et fyrverkeri. Jeg slapp en til. Det gikk 18 for oss og 2 en amerikanerbane i andre kolonien der. Og den gikk jo luften fullstendig. Sa etterpå at det hadde blitt bjerget over til mann fra den båten. Den kan jeg godt ikke forstå det. Han gikk i luften sånn, og disse kassene på dekk, de fløy himmelhøyt.
From there onwards, we were getting Ju-88s, around about 25 at the time.
And Junkers 87.
God, there are droves of them.
Stand by to repel enemy aircraft.
Sound off action stations at the double.
Sound the alarm.
So when the skipper was in on the bridge, he couldn't see upwards. And I stood out on the wing of the bridge, and I reported to him every plane that came in to attack, from where it came, how it came, and from those directions. So he directed the way the ship would turn and get away from the bombs. And that was the horror of it, having to sit there while these people were sort of diving down on you.
Jeg var sådan til mødes lyttende, og vidste ikke, hvem som træffede i det hele taget. Det var umuligt. Altså. Det kan ikke forklares altså som bråket som var. Det må bare opleves. Men så kom det over det, så man blev rett og slett så never mind på slutten. Det var utroligt, hvad menneskene blev vendt sig til sig.
När den där stora truppen av flyget som angrep oss, vet du, vi hade inget skydd bakifrån.
Nej, här uppe var det en hel del.
Ja.
Ja. Och så var det på bägge sidorna. Ingenting här. Nej. Ville du ha eskorten där på sidan där och så en massa här uppe och så ingenting bak?
Nej. Nej, det håller jag med dig på. Vet du, att det var ju helt öppet här att komma in.
Så kom ju flygen in där. Men det var ju inga flyg som kom igenom där utan att bli skutt ner. Det var ju en annan situation.
All we knew at that time was that we had fought our way along quite successfully against all the attacks.
Men at få en torpedo i sig og i et rum med ammunition, som ikke eksploderer, der må du jo sige, at du er heldig.
Have the hands close up in 10 minutes.
Stand by below.
Apparently, there was the Lord of the Admiralty. He said that the Tirpitz was definitely out.
They'd had a report that Tirpitz, Shea and some destroyers had left their bases and were believed to be about to attack the convoy.
Den var gått ut ifrån Narvik eller någon plats där ute.
Nej, vi hörde från Altafjord.
Altafjorden,
ja.
Altafjorden, ja. Ja. Men det kom ju aldrig.
Nej, han kom ju till det helt.
In fact, I think one of the cruisers came out, circled round. He was picked up that there was heavy cruisers and battleships outside waiting, and they all went back again.
Ja, det verkar mystiskt hela alltet. Det var precis som du säger, att det var precis som det var ett lockebete.
Vi var lockeduer.
Ja.
Ni skulle ha Tirpitz ut.
Ja.
Men kommandoren, han ville ikke splitte konvojen. Så han ville ha det. Han ringte tilbage til engelske admiralitetet og fik bekræftet en gang til, at han skulle gøre det.
To disperse was the first order, and then within about a quarter of an hour, the order was changed to scatter, and that meant that every ship had to make its own way in any direction to wherever.
That night, we went down the engine room. Sometime soon after 8 o'clock, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, we got a call from the bridge, and the third engineer, Mr. Van Pelt, answered. He said, we got to speed up and go. He said, we're on our own. They're going to disperse the convoy.
Og da vi havde splittet den konvojen, så vi de andre gik. Så fik vi besked, proceed to your destination, good luck. Og så gik de tilbage til England.
I think it would be fair to say when we had this signal and saw the escorts disappearing to the westward at a very high speed, we on the merchant ships, at any rate, felt rather disgusted. It wasn't in the tradition as we knew it of the Royal Navy. And of course, at that time, unlike you, we had no insight as to why the decision was taken.
Og den største tabbe som gjort under krigen, da de spilte den konvoien. Tyske fly og tyske ubåter, de hadde jo fritt frem. Det var jo fritt frem.
Ja.
And that night was very quiet, and in fact, I slept very well that night. I remember sleeping very well that night. In fact, I overslept, because that was the reason why I was on my way back to the steering engine when the torpedo hit. Beautiful day like this, and Sunday morning, and there was not a ship in sight. Very soon after 8 o'clock, we were hit. And when it hit, it knocked this fuel oil tank, the bulkhead or the wall, knocked it down, and this fuel oil run into the boilers, into the firebox. And so there was a secondary explosion. The submarine blew a hole you could drive an automobile through. Yeah, I couldn't even see nothing. I had my heavy weather clothes, they were gone. And so then I knew she was doomed, so I went to my lifeboat station. Some went to the rafts. I was in the boat, and the boat was waterborne. We got away.
Ja, da var de overlatt til seg selv. Det gikk jo som og det gikk jo alle retten.
Ships were just disappearing over the horizon, and then we would get signals that ships were being attacked by aircraft or submarines, and we would then have to turn around and go back and find them and rescue them.
Well, we were picking those signals up too.
Telegrafisten han var jo ung fra Texas. Så hadde han jo tog imod alle SOS for alle båtene som ble senket. Og det ble kanskje en hel flokk, altså det her greien. Så lukte han hele kjappa sin, så kom han ut til oss på ro og sa, nå klarer ikke jeg med seg.
A lot of them were killed, lost their lives because the portholes were not big enough for them to get through. And the wooden doors at that time didn't have escape panels in them. And so they jammed, and of course they just couldn't get out. And the portholes were also made.
Well, you just
so
get your head
get
through, and that was it. You couldn't get your shoulders through. No. I saw that happen time and time again, and you could do nothing except these men screaming until the ship went down. It was dreadful. There were 3 rescue ships. The one I was on was the Zamalek, there was the Zafran, the sister ship, and there was the Rathlin. And we had a hospital with 27 beds, a doctor and 2 medical attendants to look after survivors. Quite often when crews left a torpedo ship, they would then head towards the rescue ship, and they would end up in line astern, and the German planes would come back and machine gun them. And we had quite a number of casualties, people killed, because the Germans machine gunned them in the lifeboats. Then, of course, later on, The Zafran was sunk. She was hit by an aerial attack, and she turned over. But they all got off with the exception of one. And as I understand it from somebody, he went back down below to get something from his cabin. And
that wasn't an uncommon occurrence. A number of people lost their lives, you know, by going back to their rooms when the ships had been torpedoed to take photographs or money or something, and it cost them their lives.
We ended up with over 200 survivors, but they were all from lifeboats. We never ever picked up anybody out of the water who lived. Everybody we picked out of the water, by the time we got them on board, was dead. And in the course of the convoy, I think we buried about 20 people.
Then on the 8th day, we met a German submarine on the surface. He just come along, we come along, we met like this. I don't know whether he was going in circles or what. I have no idea. We just met in the ocean. The first thing he said, anybody wounded? Anybody sick? He said, I can help. But he said, I can't take all of you. I don't have room for all of you. So anyhow, he gave us biscuits and blankets and charts and a compass. Then he said, I got work to do, and left. Yes, he was very much a gentleman.
Vi var 3-4 båtar som hade någorlunda sällskap. Alltså vi släppte inte varandra i sikte. Utan ibland var vi synliga i horisonten och ibland var vi rätt så närma varandra.
Där kørte vi rätt nord. Vi kom till iskanten och kørte oss in i isen så långt vi kunde komma. Ja, for der kunne de ikke bruge torpedofly eller ubåter. Isen går jo så mye længere under vandet, end den ville eksplodere, før de kom til båten. Vi satte alt på et kort, altså. Det var jo der, vi satte i gang med at kamuflere båten med hvidtmaling. Når der var sol på isen, og det skinte sol op på det der gren, så måtte de ganske nærmere for at se båten.
Där målte vi lite grann på styr på sidan bara. På styr på sidan, det var ända.
Nej, vi målte på bägge sidor alltså.
Ja. Vi hade väl inte färg direkt.
Det var inte sån kamouflerat.
Ja.
Och då den där trålaren kom in efter oss, så sa han, you are invisible.
Ja.
Och när solen skint på isen och så på oss alltså, så var det inte synligt. Då hade vi till och med om kvällen, 2 kvällar där mens vi låg där, som vi hade lite underhållning på. Tromserveringen, han massministern. Han spelade träckspel, så det blev lite underhållning till förhandlingen. Ja, vi ville ligga så länge till att tyskarna hade gett upp med, så vi låg väl gott och väl 3 dygn då. Och så körde vi längs iskanten mot Norra Selma. Det går ju sträd igenom, det är ju 2 öar det där. Men så vi låg där så kom det också ett spejderfly över där. Vi kunde ju inte skyda något för det, men ryssarna han sköt. Då Skulle vi regne på, at der var fare for at ligge der, så viste han os vejen igennem, så vi kom ud til Karahav.
After I got some clothes, I had problems because I had light clothes on for being in the engine room on watch. So Dooley gave me a pair of pants. Some guys had 2-3 pair of pants on, anticipating this. And the first engineer was sick. He was to me an old man. He was maybe in his 50s. And he had arthritis real bad. And this cold weather hurt him so bad he couldn't move. And he'd lay up there and we'd give him a blanket to keep warm. But he died of exposure, and I got these coats. I wouldn't have survived without the extra clothes.
Did any of your survivors have Arctic clothing? I'm interested to know that. No, you see, there again, they didn't have it.
Most of them were dressed in T-shirts and some of them in singlets because they'd come up out of the engine rooms and things like that.
Well, we went up there and we asked for clothing, Arctic clothing. And some boffin in the Admiralty said, you don't need Arctic clothing up there now because it's summertime. And what he didn't realise was that we were going to be hugging the ice cap and we were on the fringe of the iceberg. So, of course, it was very cold, even though it was summertime. So we had some pretty rude words to say about whoever had made that decision.
And the weather was cold enough to get you minor frostbite because the bosun had Kelly, he had to have a couple toes amputated. I didn't for 1 minute think I wasn't going to survive. Somehow. Picked up or rescued or sailed to Russia. Norway never entered my mind.
But anyhow, I was very glad to find this place. If I had had enough of that lifeboat, 20 days is a long time.
It looked like heaven to me then. I mean, it's the biggest place in the world for as far as I was concerned then, with people and food and water, and the end of my ordeal in the lifeboat.
Här var det ju liksom här var det liksom vi tog i land där. Tog i land här.
Oh, we landed here?
Yeah.
I remember walking when I come out. I was wobbly, but and Kelly, the bosun, had to be carried, and I think several more had to be helped, and some had to be helped along the float, and they couldn't walk very well.
Någon av det enaste du som gick någorlunda stödig. Men alltså det övriga måste vi ju hjälpa i land.
I didn't know what happened to the lifeboat. I was often curious about what happened to the lifeboat. I didn't know whether we had left it here or not. You had saw the equipment in the boat. Did you say we didn't have a compass?
De hade ju kompass, vet du. Det hade de, ja. Och LS en sån där. Och de hade en kämpestor sån där kickert som de byggde farmen, vet du. Men han tog inte att ta den där i och med att han räknade med kanske tysken.
I can understand your father's fear of taking something German. I don't know whether he knew they were German or not, but he was pretty smart because somebody comes saying, where do you get these German binoculars?
Ja, men då vi liksom kom in för det här, så trodde de han, vet du, som hade en station här, vet du, att det var ryssar vi släppade in, vet du. Trodde de, vet du. Så ringde de då till tysken, vet du,
gav rapport om att det var ryssar vi kom släpandes med. Jag frågade dem att det gick så snart att tysken kom och hämtade dockan.
I didn't see the snow, but I was sleeping. And then when I woke up, on German posting, kicking me, Rossman. So then I got up and come back and joined the crowd, and then they took us away to Germany.
Coming from Novaya Zemlya, the easiest port, of course, was Archangel. Murmansk would have meant going back west, which would have brought us even closer to enemy bases. So we didn't want to go any closer than we had to.
The seamen aboard Ocean Freedom were in a poor condition because we understood what they felt and what was going at open sea. On the deck of the ship were standing fuel tank Churchill, and inside ship were about 180 tons of TNT. It is high explosive, 3 to wall. So if Germans would hit it, you can imagine what might have happened. A big water candle and nothing more.
We were very heavily attacked, but neither of us, we both got through all right.
What did we lose, 24, 26 ships?
Out of 36, yes, 24 out of 36.
Yes. Yeah, I read a book, you know, when you think in terms of those days and nowadays, I think there was about £6 million worth of war equipment, planes, tanks.
Tänk dig detta materialet som de förlorar för miljontals dollar. Det går ju att återvinna, men alla detta sjöfolkliv som gick miste där, det går aldrig upp.
Men rart nok, så, hvis vi læser det, altså, at ikke det gik flere sjøfolk væk. Der står i den boka, der er 150, 200 nogen og 40 eller noget sånt. Så.
Ja.
Resten blev bjerget.
Ja. Nej, men i alla fall så fick man fick lära detta, alltså att, och det har varit i alla krig överallt, så har alltid sjöfolket har varit den grupp som har varit mest utsatta.
Seeing that in the course of our duty we are set in the midst of many and great dangers, and that we cannot be faithful to the high trust placed in us without the help of Almighty God, let us unite our prayers in seeking His blessing upon His ship and all who serve in her.
It was said at one time that the PQ-17 was used as a decoy to bring out the Tirpitz, and it never transpired. It didn't come out, and yet they still broke up the convoy, and they lost it. And so there was never, ever any reason.
But the Russians, you see, they find it hard to believe that if they were coming out, this is something that the Navy should have welcomed. They feel that we had the armament and the battle, the heavy ships there to deal with these, and they should have welcomed the opportunity.
Attention on the upper deck, face to starboard.
Believe me, nothing was more soul-destroying to the seamen at the time. Whenever you go on an operation and you have to abandon it, it really is soul destroying because you're keyed up, and you want to get in action. There's no doubt about that. I mean, all the discomfort you suffer, there's no point in it if you're not going to get in and sort of have a go. There you are.
Men det var väl vissa personer, till och med i engelska parlamentet, som erkände att de hade gjort ett misstag.
Etterpå?
Ja, etterpå.
Ja, etterpå var du klar over det.
Men det var ju så...
Det var jo for sent.
Ja, det var for sent.
Ja. Du må være klar over en ting, du vet. Det faktiske forhold vil helst stikke frem om den går inn.
Ja.
For det var en skandale. For engelsk er realiteten,
ja.
PQ-17 has been described as the greatest naval blunder of any war. That's in the Guinness Book of Naval Records. But the decision was made in London by somebody sitting far removed from the scene of action. And the people who would have liked to have made the decisions were actually on the spot. But they were under orders, and they had to do as they were told.
Når ikke Tirpitz var mer aktiv i det nordlige farvann, så synes jo det er et fyrerbefel. Altså Hitler forbød at Tirpitz skulle utsettes for noe.
Beide Maschinen machen große Fahrt voraus. Kurs 72 Grad, beide Maschinen machen große Fahrt voraus.
Men Tirpitz i kraft av sin egen tyngde var en stadig trussel. Og det å få uskadeliggjort Tirpitz ble da en sånn priority number 1 for å snakke med kjøp. Tirpitz ble jo først senket og ut av historien først i 1944.
Det veldige skroget fikk en rekke fulltreffere, la seg opp på siden og ble til sist liggende med bunnen i været. Redningsmannskapene forsøkte å skjære seg gjennom panserskroget for å komme inn til de innesperrede i skipets bomberom. Det tok imidlertid over 4 dager, og i mellomtiden var alle døde. Av den 2200 mann store besetning ble ikke engang halvparten reddet. 1200 lik finnes det fremdeles i denne uhyggelige kirkegård av stål og jern.
I 1942, det är ett minnesår i mitt liv som jag aldrig kan liksom komma över. Det gjorde ont i hela kroppen, och det gjorde ont för att vi var ju sjöfolk. Vi var ju inte krigsfolk, vi var ju sjöfolk. Och den behandlingen vi fick, den tyckte jag var dålig. Och jag har i 18 år försökt att få någon krigspension här i Norge, och jag har varit i norska handelsflottan sedan 1939 och fram till 1945 när jag slutade stå, har jag inte fått en krona, inte någonting.
Nej, vi var också bortglömt.
Ja, det är det.
Well, I want to thank you, Otto, for saving my life. You gave me 57 years of life, from 1942 to today. 57 years I'm alive for you. And many thanks.
Om det nu skulle bli ett nytt krig, ställer du upp då igen och konvojera där uppe på Ryssland, eller nej, det gör du inte?
Det blir nog mer med mig, det kan jag fortelle.
Jag tror jag betackar mig också då.
Like a friend of mine says, who was also on Russian convoys, I wouldn't have missed them, but I'd never repeat them.
Dette programmet går i reprise I morgen på NRK2 klokken 22.25. Og det siste programmet I denne serien kommer neste mandag I Dukk 22, altså klokken 22.
Siste krigsåret, 1944 til 1945, og følger skjebnen både til allierte og tyske flygere, marine og ubåtmannskaper, etter at krigslykken hadde snudd og den røde hær hadde drevet tyskerne ut av Sør-Varanger. Mens Finnmark brant og sivilbefolkningen ble evakuert, kuliminerte krigen og tyskerne måtte kapitulere. Programansvarlige Harald Henriksen og Jarn Horne.
Det jo nesten skam å si det I dag, da. Men den gangen så kan man si at man hadde hørt om alle disse torpederingene og alt det som var, og norske sjøfolk som hadde blitt skutt på og drept med mitraljøsild mens de lå I vannet og I livbåtene. Så man kan jo si at inni seg så hatet man jo alt det som het tysk den gangen.
When you've seen your own ships torpedoed and people killed, and when I saw the Lapwing sunk in Kola Inlet, and I got home only a couple of months later from that to find out that a near neighbour of mine had lost her son on board Lapwing, makes you feel that I don't mind if one or two of the others are killed. So it's them or us, and I'd rather it was them rather than us.
There was a German pilot had been shot down. He was out of his aircraft, and he was blazing. Whether petrol had gone out or whatever, I don't know. But I was dancing up and down for joy, and quite suddenly, and I can't explain this, I really can't. Quite suddenly, I felt sick in my gut that I could sink so ruddy low to have such joy at seeing a human being burning, and I was disgusted, and I puked. I really did.
Mich hat ganz besonders niedergeschlagen und beeindruckt das Schicksal meines Jahrgangskameraden Gunter Breu. Gunter Breu war Oberleutnant, wie ich. Er flog neben unserem Kommandeur und er sagte zu dem Kommandeur Sölder: Herr Major, ich möchte an Ihrer Seite fliegen, da fühle ich mich am sichersten. Und just an dieser Seite ist er in Brand geschossen worden, 30 Meter, 50 Meter neben mir, habe ich ihn und seine ganze Besatzung noch in der Luft verbrennen sehen, hart gestikulierend, aufschlagend, explodierend aus. Ein junges Leben, das mit der der Vorgabe oder mit dem Versuch darzustellen, dass man an den Tod nicht glaubt, nicht verhindern konnte, dass jeder merkte, der ist so gut wie tot. Als der Krieg ausbrach, habe ich mich freiwillig gemeldet. Ich wollte wie viele Jungs in der Zeit in der ganzen Welt natürlich Pilot werden und bin 1943 mit meiner Ausbildung bis zum Kampfflieger fertig gewesen. Obwohl ich selbst ein eher chaotischer, sprunghafter Mensch bin, habe ich mich in diese Pflicht der Unterordnung eingefügt, weil ich fliegen wollte.
Ja, vi tilhørte jo 331 skvadron, som var en underlagsskvadron av Royal Air Force. Og vi var plassert i en liten kamp der oppe som het Corbett Camp, hvor vi bodde i noen, ja, kan nesten si fattigslige nissenhøtter, hvor det var grusomt kaldt på vinteren, og veldig varmt de gangene som sola virkelig skinte da oppe på Island.
Opprinnelig så var det jo Northrop som var på Island da, det var jo før Catalinas tid. Og så når Catalina kom inn i bildet, det var i 42, juli 42, og da kom jeg inn i bildet på Catalina da, og de lå jo da stasjonert i Reykjavik, Corbett Camp som det het. Og det er såkalte amfibiusfly, det vil si det samme som de kan lande på land, og virke som en flybåt når det er nødvendig.
Og vi fløy da ut fra Reykjavik for det meste, og var ute på konvoitjenester og eskorterte konvoiene, eller at vi var på såkalte undervannsbåtsøk, hvor vi da søkte i firkanter i fronten av der hvor konvoiene skulle gå.
Im Frühjahr 1943 wurde mein Boot ins Nordmeer kommandiert, um die dortigen U-Boote zu verstärken. Ich kam als erstes zur 11. U-Flottille nach Bergen.
Der Hafen von Bergen ist erreicht. Die deutschen Schiffe...
Und anschließend lief ich ein in Drontheim, dort war die 13. Unterseebootsflottille, und später nach Narvik. Narvik war dann der häufigste Ausgangspunkt unserer Unternehmung.
Und ich bin dann 1944, nachdem wir Frankreich haben räumen müssen nach der Invasion, sind die Reste unserer Torpedofliegereinheit, die sind schrecklich zusammengeschossen worden, nach Norwegen verlegt worden. Dort bin ich durch Bordeaux gekommen, habe ein paar Tage in Bordeaux mich aufgehalten und bin dann zum Einsatz nach Bardufoss gekommen.
Have you seen any ice yet? All lookouts close up.
Weather doesn't look too promising, does it?
Truly, this is the most damnable place on earth.
Do you hear that? Starboard watch of seamen muster on the forecastle.
When people talk to me about what it was like, I refer to a chap called Ewart Brooks, and he wrote a book on the convoys to North Russia, and he named it The Gates of Hell. And that to me, that's what it really was, Gates of Hell.
This is luxury, isn't it? I'm glad I came now.
Yeah.
Just another pleasure cruise. I wouldn't have missed this for anything on earth.
Der Dienst im Nordmeer war besonders hart aufgrund des Klimas und der Dunkelheit. Das Boot durfte nicht geheizt werden, denn wir mussten die Batteriekapazität auf voller Höhe halten, denn im Falle eines Angriffs kam es darauf an, dass man 70 Stunden und länger dies durchhalten konnte. Deshalb war es im Boot klamm, feucht. Selbst wenn man die Wäsche wechselte, war das alles feucht. Aber zunächst mal hatten wir noch Überwassermöglichkeiten. Und das war natürlich sehr hart. Das Boot vereiste in dem nördlichen, die Konvois benutzten immer die Eisgrenze, weil es dort am sichersten, sie am weitesten entfernt war von den Reichweiten der aus Bardufoss startenden Kampfflugzeuge.
Now when we were on the convoys, those guardrails would finish up with about a foot of ice and it would down to the deck. Solid ice, and that would happen overnight. And if you didn't do something about it, the ship would just turn turtle because you got top heavy. And you had to chip this away, knock all the ice off. And this was a continuous job in the dead of winter to clear this off.
Det var den 21. september vi dro ut da fra Akureyri, for da var vi nemlig forflyttet fra Corbett Camp til Akureyri for å ligge nærmere Murmansk-konvoien som vi skulle eskortere. Og vi tok av ved nattetider, husker jeg, og jeg husker ikke hvor mange timer vi hadde ut i konvoien. Det var vel en 6-7 timer. Dårlig vær var det også. Da vi fløyet, i hvert fall hard motvind.
Og det var en lang fjord, og det ble en lang startbane, fordi at vi var veldig lastet med både bensin og bomber, og hadde selvfølgelig all den ammunisjon vi kunne ha med oss. Og kom frem og fant konvoien sånn i grålysningen på morgenkvisten.
Og det første jeg observerte, det var en Focke-Wulf-kondor som fløy over konvoien. Det var et 4-motors tysk bombefly. Men den hadde ikke en interesse av å angripe oss, men vi ble jo dirigert opp til det området hvor denne kondoren hadde sirklet. For der var det da et pack of wolves, som vi kalte det, opp til flere undervannsbåter i det området der. Så han lå da bare og ga posisjon til undervannsbåtene om hvor konvoien da befant seg hele tiden.
Og da vi nærmer oss dette stedet, så forsvinner da dette tyske flyet, så den var jo ikke interessert i en syvende å oppta noen kamp med oss. Men i gjengjeld så lå det til vår overraskelse en ubåt i overvannsstilling. Og det var nemlig ikke vanlig på den tiden, fordi fort de så et fly, så dykket de, men denne ble liggende oppe. Og når vi da nærmes opp, ca. et par hundre meter fra, så skjøt de som vilt ifra ubåten, og den traff da vår venstre bensintank med et ganske stort hull. Heldigvis så eksploderte ikke granaten, ellers hadde det bare vært en eksplosjon det hele.
Og det rant jo bensin langs underkanten av vingen inn mot vingerota og inn i mitt kompartment, så det luktet jo bensin av verden. Det var bra vi ikke røkte. Og blant annet så skjøt jeg av ledningen til min mikrofon. Så kapteinen ropte Johansen, Johansen, for han så jo bena mine, og han kikket bak, Johansen, Johansen, sa han, over mikrofonen. Og han trodde jeg var død, antageligvis, for jeg fikk jo ikke svart, for jeg hadde jo ikke noen mikrofon.
Men så gikk vi da inn, fortsatt angrepet inn, og ca. vel 100 meter så begynte jeg å skyte. Og det jeg fikk se før vi passerte over ubåten, ca. 20-30 meter over den, da de slapp bombene, var at det 2 tyskere rullet ned fra dekket på ubåten, eller toppen av ubåten, og ned i vannet.
Men det var jo bare et glimt jeg fikk av det, for da var vi forbi. Og vi slapp jo bombene på hver side av disse dypvannsbombene på hver side av Canning Tower på den undervannsbåten, og jeg så de eksploderte. Men hva som skjedde med undervannsbåten senere, Det fikk jeg aldri klarhet over, fordi da var vi på vei mot konvoien for å nødlande. Men det viser seg jo det at når vi kom ombord i denne destroyeren, som vi var ombord i 4 dager, før vi ble satt til land på Island, så viser det at det blåste opp en storm når vi skulle hjemover med motvind, så vi hadde aldri, sannsynligvis ifølge navigatøren, så hadde vi aldri nådd Island hvis vi ikke hadde blitt skutt med. Så sånn var det.
Die Einsätze selbst hatten zum Ziel, natürlich die Konvois zu vernichten, die ja Material gegen unsere Truppen an der Ostfront brachten. Und dann kam noch ein persönlicher, ja, wir würden heute sagen Showbusiness-Wunsch von Göring, der seinem glorreichen Führer endlich einen Erfolg auf den Tisch legen wollte, nämlich einen versenkten Flugzeugträger.
They were the sort of things that the Germans were looking for, the escort carriers. And we used to operate from the middle of the convoy. We always were in the middle of it, and then we always dropped astern to fly off the aircraft. And of course, then we were very vulnerable.
The biggest problem on the convoys was the fact that you were surrounded by the submarines all the time, who at night time came up in the convoy, and the only way we could keep them from getting within the convoy was keeping swordfish flying around the convoy for 24 hours a day, which we did initially until the weather got too bad. My job was as a photographer, and I flew in the rear of the swordfish. It was an open cockpit, and it was very cold flying, extremely cold, and so we had this special gear for flying in the cold. The only problem was, if you wanted to go to the toilet, you had to urinate in your own trousers, because of course you couldn't go anywhere. You was all zipped up.
It was pretty awful for flying people. All our job was to keep the aircraft in the air, you know, and we performed this on all occasions. Very, very rare were we unable to supply the aircraft that was needed in defense of a convoy.
Unsere Flugzeuge waren den feindlichen Jägern von den Flugzeugträgern nicht mehr gewachsen. Wir hatten auch Torpedos, die völlig ungeeignet waren, solche Erfolge zu erzielen. Es war also eine unmögliche Mission. Sie konnte nicht erfüllt werden. Das war wahrscheinlich unserer Generalität auch klar. Aber sie wollten mindestens auf dem Papier Erfolge sehen. Aber bei jedem Einsatz verloren wir so viel Besatzungen und wie ich erst später herausgefunden habe, ohne irgendeinen Erfolg.
I did wet my trousers at the time and didn't realise it till afterwards, but those things don't seem to worry you at the time. It's a matter of are we going to live or are we going to meet our maker, as it were.
Zum Schluss des Krieges war die Überlebensrate eines Torpedofliegers bei höchstens 2 Flügen.
bei dieser ganz ausgezeichneten Abwehr und der starken Sicherung der Konvois waren wir praktisch sofort erfasst. Wenn wir einen Torpedo gelöst haben, dann wurde das von den Sonargeräten der U-Jäger aufgenommen, denn schon der Kolben, der mit Pressluft nach vorne gejagt wurde, um den Torpedo auszustoßen, klackte vorne an. Das war ein Geräusch, das sie sofort aufgenommen haben. Im selben Moment drehte die nächstgelegenen Teile der Sicherung auf uns zu und wir wurden sofort beharrt. Die höchste Dauer von Wasserbombenverfolgung war 72 Stunden.
Geräusche werden schwächer und dann weiter aus. 200 Meter nach vorne.
Und wenn wir die Wasserbomben hörten, dann waren die Maschinen natürlich ausgeschaltet, waren wir unter Wasser. Dann konnte man das Plumpsen hören, wenn sie runterfielen, aufs Wasser klatschen. Und dann haben wir gezählt, zack, zack, so 10, 20 Sekunden, dann waren die unten und dann je nach Tiefe, wie sie eingestellt waren, dann waren wir vielleicht auf 180 Meter Tiefe und dann konnten die Wasserbomben uns in der ersten Zeit nichts mehr anhaben, weil die nur bis 150 Meter eingestellt werden konnten. Aber später gab es dann Wasserbomben mit 250 Meter und wenn die dann da unten hochgingen und dicht bei waren, könnte das Ende gewesen sein.
Ab 1944, so etwa September, wurde mir klar, dass der Krieg verloren war. Und ich sagte mir aber doch, man muss es also irgendwie ehrenvoll bestehen. Nicht mit dem Gefühl nun, dass wir noch irgendetwas machen konnten, sondern mit dem Gefühl, ich möchte mein Boot heil jetzt heimbringen, meine Besatzung. Und das war doch ein sehr beherrschender Gedanke bei mir.
Ich erinnere mich, dass ich im Herbst 1944 in Lübeck im Casino hatten wir ein Fest. Und da spielte Musik und dann sang einer von unserem technischen Offizier, der in England gewesen und in Amerika gewesen ist, der konnte einen Bass spielen. Der hat den Bass gespielt und hat dann gesungen, wenn der Tommy kommt, was dann? Ja, was fangen wir, wenn der Tommy kommt, wohl an? Das war das erste Mal, dass in einer Gemeinschaft von unterschiedlichen Rängen unwidersprochen und ohne Folgen darauf hingewiesen wurde, der Tommy wird kommen. Ja? Und das war wohl das erste Mal. Und trotzdem fühlten wir uns verpflichtet, weiterzukämpfen, weil wir von der Idee besessen waren, dass wir die große geschichtliche Aufgabe haben, Europa vor Russland oder vielmehr von dem Stalinismus zu bewahren. Das erklärt vielleicht, dass es für die gesamte deutsche Wehrmacht so lange gedauert hat, bis sie denn die Hände hochgehoben haben.
Войска Карельского фронта продолжали наступление и 23 октября освободили от немцев весь район никелевого производства и с боями заняли Никель, Ахмалахти и Сальми-Ярви. Продолжая наступление, наши войска перешли государственную границу Норвегии и 25 октября овладели городом Киркенес.
De hadde tatt Kirkenes og drevet tyskerne noe vestover, men de gikk ikke lenger enn til litt inne i Varangersålen, og så trakk de seg tilbake, slik at tyskerne brente
hele Finnmark I fred og ro, og samtidig tvangsevakuerte de befolkningen. Etter hvert så fikk vi rapporter om at det var en del folk I Vest-Finnmark, og de hadde stort sett blitt igjen på grunn av denne kongens proklamasjon, som oppfordret folk til å bli igjen, fordi det ville komme hjelp nok så snart. Den var, tror jeg, I oktober-november, omtrent på den tiden der.
Jeg vet at forholdene der ytterst vanskelige, på grund av tyskernes hensynsløse ødelæggelser. Men jeg forsikrer dere deroppe om, at vi herude gør alt vi kan for å skaffe hjelp. Alle også klar over, at slutkampen kan bli hård. Også I Norge, og alle må være forberedt på at ta del I den siste og avgjørende kamp.
Vi hadde jo radio I snugg og lyttet på London og fikk anmodning om å trosse denne det evakueringspåbudet som ble.
Fikk vite at det gikk ikke lenge før at det kom befrielse til oss, så vi måtte bare ta det med ro og holde oss skjult.
Og sette oss til motverge, var det sågar også sagt. Og det var jo fåfengt. Hva skulle vi sette imot den store, svære tyske her, som da også kom rømmende fra Finland, Nord-Russland og Finland. Så det var ikke, de visste vel kanskje ikke riktig helt dimensjonene I det tyskerne drev på med her oppe. Så det var nok årsaken til at så mange ble igjen her på Sørøy-området. Vi var jo patrioter av Guds nåde egentlig her ute, som gjorde at vi følte den parolen der. Det jo ikke å legge skjul på at vi tappte stort på at vi ikke evakuerte egentlig, for vi kunne jo ha tatt mye med oss som andre gjorde, som evakuerte på en ordentlig måte.
Jeg takker dere alle og slutter med det gamle ønsket om en god jul og et godt nyttår.
Jeg var altså på motortorpedobåter, og vi hadde vært med på invasjonen. Vi ble trukket ned fra Shetland og lå I Øst-England og operert utenfor hollandskekysten. Så kom imidlertid det opp I Finnmark, og jeg ble da sendt med en engelsk krysser, Berwick, opp til Murmansk for å være med den styrken som skulle til Kirkenes og forsøke å utvirke at vi skulle få destroyere fra en Murmansk konvoi inn til Sørøya for å ta med folk som var igjen der. Men marinen hadde ikke noen båter I det hele tatt der oppe, så vi måtte operere med fiskefartøyer. Og vi kom med fiskeskøyter til Sørøya 21. januar, og det var altså flere måneder etterpå denne kongens proklamasjon kom. Og tilstanden på Sørøya og I Vest-Finnmark var forholdsvis dårlig. De bodde jo I huler rundt omkring, og det var jo tyskere på øya, I Hasvik og Breivikbotn, slik at det kunne blitt en ren katastrofe.
Og vi visste jo aldri hvor lenge vi kunne bli der. Og du skjønner det at jeg da som tenkte mange ganger på det at Gud, jeg som skulle ha unge. Hvor I verden skal det gå med meg? Ikke hadde klær, ikke hadde noe ting. Så det var mange ganger tungt.
Det var ju närmast en jordgång idag. 3 månader, trangt och trasigt var det. Och 2 familjer var vi ju där. Så det var inte mycket plats att röra sig på.
Og der hvor det var så mye folk og ingen hjelp og ingenting å hjelpe dem med. Det var jo ikke det.
Problemet med å ha 500 mennesker oppe i Nordhavskysten var at vi hadde jo nesten ikke forsyninger. Det var meget dårlig. Vi hadde litt mel som vi holdt liv, og så fisket vi. Og det var det som holdt livet i. Men vi hadde jo radio der, og jeg satte da i gang med å sende et telegram til denne Murmansk-konvoien, og hvor vi ga klar beskjed om at vi hadde ca. 500 mennesker som var i en nokså desperat situasjon, og at det var helt nødvendig at evakueringen ville finne sted.
Convoy JW64, we had submarines waiting to collect us, to pick us up as we left Scotland, and they stayed on the outskirts of the convoy throughout. And once the weather closed in and we started getting attacked by the Junkers 88s, then we had to reduce the flying just till daytime because we didn't have the capacity of planes for 24-hour flying.
Bei dem Konvoi 64, der also nach Murmansk ging, sind wir bei sehr wechselhaftem und schlechtem Wetter tief angeflogen und haben die ersten Schüsse durch schwere Schiffsartillerie schon gekriegt, als wir das Geleit durch die Nebelbänke noch gar nicht sehen konnten.
Da ist er. Wo? Da.
Unfortunately, they frequently caught us by surprise, so that there would only be a few wildcats up in the air at the time to attack them. So the rest were probably in the hangar of the ship rather than up in the air where they should be. But if we knew they were coming, we'd have all the wildcats up and all the swordfish below.
Ich habe nach dem Krieg ein Buch gelesen, dass wir von einer Swordfish, von einem Doppeldecker, entdeckt worden sind und alle Flugzeuge, alle Wildcats, das sind Yachtflugzeuge, von den Trägern in die Luft geschickt wurden und auch die Artillerie uns auf Radar verfolgt hat oder das darüber fliegende Fühlungshalterflugzeug verfolgt hat. Sie wussten also genau, wo wir sind und wir kriegten gleich gezieltes und auch radargesteuertes Feuer.
As the planes came in attacking us, it to me was very exciting because it was the first action I'd had, and there seemed to be torpedoes coming at us from every direction, flying straight at the carrier, and several of them did drop the torpedoes short of the convoy and did not really aim them properly at the ships due to the heavy fire that they were receiving as they came in towards the convoy.
Wir kamen dann neben einem Flakkreuzer vorbei und meine Besatzung schrie dauernd, weil da so ein Sperrfeuer schoss mit all seinen vielen Flakgeschützen hoch und runter zu einem Vorhang. Und irgendwie sind wir da durchgekommen, aber bei meinen Abwehrbewegungen bin ich in der schweren See mit einem Motor durch eine Welle durchgeflogen und habe von den 3 Blättern meiner Holzluftschraube ungefähr 40 Zentimeter verloren. Das bringt den Motor so ins Vibrieren, dass man durch den Motor den Horizont sehen konnte und wir erwarteten jeden Moment, dass der Motor rausbricht. Normalerweise stellt man dann den Motor ab, aber wir hatten Wildcats, also diese Jäger bei uns. Und ich musste sehen, dass ich in die Wolken reinkam, um dann denen zu entgehen. Und da brannte ein Flugzeug und da brannte ein Flugzeug. Alleine von der kleinen Gruppe, zu der ich gehörte, 18 Flugzeuge, wurden 6 abgeschossen und insgesamt sind es noch sehr viel mehr geworden. Ich habe dann die längste und angsterregendste Tour gehabt, an die ich mich in meinem Leben erinnern kann, mit einem Krankenmotor von der Bäreninsel, 700 Kilometer oder wie viele es waren, etwa sowas, zurück bis nach Bardufoss zu fliegen. Also so viel Dauerangst über einem eiskalten Meer mit einer Überlebenschance von 7 Minuten habe ich in meinem Leben noch nicht gehabt. Und mir schlug das Herz und uns allen schlug das Herz bis hier oben hin. Bei diesem Einsatz sind ja so viele Schiffe angeblich versenkt worden. Und in Wirklichkeit ist nicht ein einziges auch nur getroffen worden.
Закончив поддержку десанта, наши корабли вышли далеко в океан для встречи транспортов.
We landed at Vianga and we were glad to get there, but we were more glad to turn around and come back home to England than going to Russia.
We were only told about the refugees on Soraya the day before we set sail from Poliano. So we didn't quite know what to expect. But we did know that we were going to go fast, and we enjoyed doing that. The weather was absolutely perfect. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and the sea was absolutely calm. And we went at 30 knots in diamond formation against air attack, but we were going much too fast for any U-boats to attack us.
Og da kom de vel sånn cirka 14. februar, tenker jeg?
Ja, jeg tror det var omkring 14. februar, hvis ikke det var, ja.
Og da kom de inn her, og så ble det liggende en her ute som bevåkningsbåt, ja. Og så gikk det 2 stykker inn, en hit, og en der.
Ja.
And I remember the bay we went into. There wasn't a soul in sight. It was absolutely empty. And then a small flag crept up to the top of a pole at a signal station at the entrance to the bay. And then suddenly, what had been an entirely empty saucer of snow was peopled. And people skied down to the water's edge and started coming off in their boats to be taken on board us.
Og det gikk forholdsvis raskt. De satte båten på vannet og tok folk ombord i båten og ombord på destroyerne. Disse stedene er jo rolig innelukket farevann, så det var ikke noe problem å få det ombord. Og efter en par timer så var de som skulle ombord, de var kommet ombord, og da gikk vi til Murmansk med forholdsvis stor fart.
As we entered Murmansk, we saw a very desolate picture. The town was rather small, and it was just an outpost town. And it was a nice harbor, but suddenly a destroyer pulled alongside us in the harbor, and they unloaded some strange-looking people. And we learned that they were Norwegians and that they had been picked up by the British Navy from the island of Soraya.
Det skulle gå en konvoi et par dager etterpå, og de ble da fordelt på 15-20 mennesker på hvert handelsfartøy. Blant annet så kom det 19 folk ombord i Henry Bacon, som var en amerikansk båt.
Well, you know, when
you came alongside the Henry Bacon
Yes.
with these people, it was quite a surprise
Yes.
for us. We didn't know what was happening. Hadn't been given any word that we would have passengers, because the merchant ships are not fitted to take passengers, and we don't expect this. But it was a great surprise to us. And then after we learned about the reason for this, we were very sympathetic, and we were happy to share our facilities with them and give them a place to sleep and food to eat, and made them as comfortable as possible.
Vi hade ju en lugar för oss själv, vi hela familjen då. Så vi syns ju det var bra efter förhållandena. Efter det som vi hade levt ungefär. Då vi låg i hulan för exempel upp på Söröja. Så det var ju fint, och god mat var det ombord i den båten där, och Henry Baker.
Kan du tro att kom dit över till på de båtarna där, och sketten och lusat var vi, och herregud, det var fält. Det var ju först att få oss bada och ja, fick vi da medel på oss om att dräpa ut höje. Det är inte något att skjula, men det är sant. Ja, det var grusomt. Vi kunde väl vara en 20 stycken som kom ombord på som blev satt ombord på Thomas Scott. Och där fick vi dyneträckar som vi skulle sy oss kjolar, och vi höll på där och skulle fixa oss till, vet du, och ha det koselig. Och vi var gått 6 timmar ut från Murmansk, så blev vi torspederade.
Well, we knew the submarines were waiting for us to come out of the coal inlet, and the Bluebell went ahead. Several destroyers, in fact, went ahead, but the Bluebell went ahead, and he was torpedoed straight away before he got anywhere.
Denn die Bluebell hatte mich erfasst mit ihren Sonargeräten und drehte auf uns zu, war eigentlich zu einem Angriff bereit, hatte wahrscheinlich die Wasserbomben und die Waffen alle entsichert, scharf, und war kurz vor Abschuss, als dann mein Torpedo sie traf. Die Bluebell flog wirklich total auseinander. Von den 90 Mann Besatzung ist nur ein Mann gerettet worden.
There were only 3 survivors from it. 2 died shortly afterwards, and so we lost that ship on the first day. So that was not a good start for the return journey. As we got into the journey back home, we hit the worst storms that were experienced throughout any Russian convoy. And we were tossed about like a cork throughout the voyage, and it was very difficult operating.
By the 22nd of February, we were having trouble keeping the ship afloat, really, because it was so rough that the rudder of the Henry Bacon was damaged, and we could not keep up with the convoy. Well, after we lost the convoy, the captain headed away from the coast of Norway, and we got to about, I think, about 50 miles behind the convoy by the 23rd. And that was the day we were attacked by some 23 Ju-88 torpedo bombers.
Det gick ju inte lov selvfølgelig att gå runt och se. Men han Sigurd, vi lirte oss nu ut där med vart och kika på det här. Vad som foregick. Vi hörde ju smäll och försäljare sån där bulder och brak då. Och då fick vi se det där. Det var ju massor som blev skutt och det var ju helt lämläst och du tror hur rädd vi var. Det var ju sån bråk att det var rent förfärligt. Och det var ju säkert inte så bra för oss unga att se sånt där. Men vi hade nu lurat oss ut på däcket.
And at this point, we were pretty much a sitting duck. And the captain gave me a message to send out that we were being attacked. And after they scored their direct hit, it was immediately obvious to people on board and to the captain, of course, that the ship was mortally wounded. And then a few minutes later, he came back and gave me the message indicating that we were sinking and that we would abandon ship. Captain Curry first ordered that all of the refugees, the 19 Norwegian refugees, to go into the first lifeboat. And at that point, he asked me, as the radio man with my little transmitter, to go in the boat with them.
Han Campbell, han var ju en av dem som holdt hodet kaldt sammen med far vår, så fikk den livbåten ut fra skutesida så den ikke gikk ned I dragsugen når hovedbåten gikk ned.
But 24, I believe, were not. The captain, the chief engineer, never left the ship. They went down with the ship. And I witnessed the sinking of it because after only maybe 15 or 20 minutes of being in the water, suddenly the bow of the ship just raised up in the air and it just slid peacefully into the sea.
Det blev väldigt stilla när båten hade gått ner och vi låg där med i båten. Så någon bytte ju svingen, vet du, som kristen sång. Gjorde en försök på det I vart fall. Inte sant? Man gör ju det när man är ute I sån väldigt kritisk situation. Alltså. Så tyr man ju åt det till Gud och så.
There was about 3 hours before we were rescued by 3 British destroyers.
Now, when we got there in the area, the 3 destroyers spread out in a probably 2 or 3 mile radius and combed the area, and all we could see were bits of flotsam, jetsam, things floating in the water, dead bodies, rafts with people on, and we started to pick up survivors that were alive.
But it still was quite a chore to get the people from this little lifeboat onto the deck of that destroyer under heavy seas like this. Because at one instant, we would be level with the deck of the ship, and immediately we'd be 30 feet or 10 meters below the deck of the ship.
We had to stand on the scramblers, and part of the time we went down with the ship as it rolled. We were practically submerged in water, waiting for it to come back again, and then we could grab what we could from the lifeboat.
Quickly, get them on board.
After a few of these trips up and down, we were able to get all of the 19 refugees on the destroyer, and then we proceeded to scramble up on deck ourselves. That was a happy moment.
The SS Henry Bacon was the last ship to be sunk by German aircraft. So it holds that distinction, whether it's of any credit to anybody, but it definitely is down in history as that.
Am 4. Mai 1945 kamen wir von Murmansk und liefen nach Kielbotten, uns zugewiesen als Endstation. Da lag die Black Watch in einer Bucht dicht am Ufer, mit Vorleinen am Ufer vertreut und vor Heckanker. Und wir gingen dort längs Seit.
We knew it was the Black Watch. And I knew personally that it had been a Fred Olsen ship used for passenger work before the war. We were also told that there were submarines alongside and that it had been a depot ship for the U-boats.
Well, it was quite an extensive mission, really, because we had other carriers with us and aircraft from them. I think in total there were about 40, just over 40 aircraft, 40 Avengers taking part in it. We had 12 Avengers, and we were leading the attack in.
Damit waren wir des Glaubens, dieser Krieg ist vorbei, wir haben es überstanden. Meine Besatzung war froh, obwohl wir nun einem etwas ungewissen Schicksal entgegengingen, aber wir hatten doch das Gefühl, jetzt können wir endlich mal wieder vielleicht unsere Angehörigen sehen.
Los, Jungs, auf die Heimat!
It was a beautiful day. Scenery was absolutely delightful going in. I took some photographs of it going in, thinking, well, such delightful scenery. Climbing, we had gone in at about 100 feet from the ship to keep under the German radar, to give as little notice as possible.
Und in dem Moment, wo ich mich zum Turm hochhangelte, sah ich wie ein Hornissenschwarm die Flugzeuge, es waren insgesamt nachher festgestellt 44, von 3 Flugzeugträgern, Searcher, Hunter und Queen, die kamen im Sturzflug auf uns zu. Die Black Watch war sofort eine lodernde Fackel und ich versuchte, mein Boot davon loszureißen. Das gelang mir kaum, denn dann traf auch eine Bombe unser Heck und ich fand mich vor dem Zentralloop wieder. Dann sanken wir langsam zwar und wir waren 7 Mann Wache an Bord und zu diesen 7 plus 8 meiner Wenigkeit kamen dann noch 3 Mann, die gerettet wurden. Insgesamt die Black Watch sind 32 Mann meiner Besatzung auf der Black Watch gefallen und eine Besatzung von über 200 Mann. Das war das erschütternde Ende meines Bootes. 5 Minuten vor Torschluss, 10 Stunden später, war die Unterschrift der Teilkapitulation gegenüber den westlichen Alliierten in der Lüneburger Heide zwischen Montgomery und dem Admiral Friedeburg.
The German delegation will now sign this paper.
Admiral Hans-Georg von Friedenburg surrenders all German armies in North Germany, Holland, Denmark, and Norway.
He was trying to sink a ship, not necessarily kill the people on board. And as long as the ship was out of action, that was our objective. Why it was not cancelled just before VE Day, I will never know. Because it was so obvious it was coming, and that raid really was completely unnecessary.
Ich war kein Nazi. Und Gott sei Dank meine Leute auch nicht. Wir waren nicht so eingeschworen. Aber wir waren eigentlich traditionell erzogen, unsere Pflicht zu tun. Unsere Väter hatten im Ersten Weltkrieg gekämpft und wir taten das im Zweiten Weltkrieg nicht für Hitler, sondern für unsere Heimat. In dem Glauben, dass wir das unserer Heimat schuldig wären.
Well, I wrote an article in our Convoy magazine, and Hans Werner Gross gets a copy of this magazine every quarter. And when he read my article, he realised he was the Junkers 88 pilot that torpedoed our ship and almost hit the mast of the ship as he flew over it. So he contacted me by phone, and I invited him over to our reunion at Blackpool. And he came, and we had a good time and discussed the affair over a drink.
Ich bin zur Luftwaffe gegangen als überzeugter Flieger und muss gestehen, ich bin als überzeugter Nationalsozialist zur Luftwaffe gegangen. Und das hat sich dann erst langsam modifiziert und geändert, nachdem ich sah, was aus unseren großartigen Visionen nun geworden ist. Nämlich ein Deutschland mit Millionen von Toten, ein Europa mit Millionen von Toten. Und nichts von den großartigen Ideen einer überlegenen Ideologie, die wir glaubten, missionarisch in der ganzen Welt verbreiten zu können, ist dann schließlich übergeblieben. Und damit kam natürlich auch die Frage, was war das alles? Ein großer Irrtum oder eine kriminell vorgeplante Handlung? Und zum Ende meines Lebens wird mir das Wort der Griechen. Ich weiß, dass ich nichts weiß.
But we still remember the 24 people from our crew on the Henry Bacon who were not able to get into a lifeboat and who did not survive in this very, very cold Arctic water. And I think we should remember them and give them our prayers and our remembrance.